obesity is not a new thing, it's been on the rise for a number of years, and we need really smart, engaged policies in order to tackle and address that. One of the things we're working on is looking at what the nation eats. This is currently a big evidence gap at the moment in the space. So we're looking at different data sets, novel methods, and thinking about how we better understand what people are eating. This will help us understand where we can really make a big difference in reducing obesity across the country. We're also working on loneliness. We're exploring at the moment the links between loneliness and health. We're thinking about how we can really tackle loneliness and make a difference to the health of the nation by doing so. So really thinking about where we can have the most impact and do that. So we're looking at work from organisations like the Food Foundation. They have their annual Broken Plate report, which is a really good synthesis of the information out there and original research on people's diets, how people are eating across the country, and kind of the health of the nation more generally as well. We're also looking to colleagues at organisations like Bite Back, who is a youth-led organisation for social change and pushing forward to make sure that diets and people have access to healthier food across the country. On loneliness, there is already an existing really engaged and really inspirational coalition of organisations. So that includes colleagues like Jo Cox's Commission for Loneliness, the British Red Cross, the Campaign to End Loneliness, and organisations like the What Works Centre for Wellbeing. And what they're really doing is kind of building the evidence base on why loneliness matters and the impact that this can have on people's health and why it's such a pressing issue to resolve. One of the most promising interventions in that space is social prescribing, which is a means of connecting individuals, people across the country, to link workers into services in order to help them. And that applies to loneliness, but also to a broader range of health concerns that people have. What I'd like to see happen in the obesity area in the next 5 years is a real commitment from industry and government. In order to make the changes we need to make, we need commitment from both, and that will really drive forward the change that we need. This is a long-term issue. Obesity is not a new thing, it's been on the rise for a number of years, and we need really smart, engaged policies in order to tackle and address that. And we also need the moral and ethical buy-in from industry in order to drive that forward as well. It'll be a concerted effort in order to address it. In the next 5 years in loneliness, I think I would really like to see loneliness back on the government agenda. Back in 2018, the government published the first strategy for loneliness, which really galvanised organisations, industry, the kind of whole sector behind the issue to really take it seriously as a health concern. It needs to be back on the agenda to do that again. The one thing I'd really like to change in the obesity field is to see a shift away from personal responsibility and to see that shift to considering the environments in which we live within. So the one book that I'd recommend on the area of obesity is The Health Gap by Michael Marmot. And actually it's not specifically on obesity, it's on health much more broadly. But why I think it's really interesting for the obesity space is it points out that kind of good health is not just about healthcare and about treatment and about kind of the resources available from healthcare professionals. It's much broader than that, and we need to think about the other elements that impact health. I'm really inspired to see the commitment and ambition in the obesity field at the moment. This makes me really hopeful that we can all work together to deliver true and impactful change. We're all very committed and ambitious to doing so, and I think if we work together, we form coalitions and we really drive this agenda forward, we have the potential to have massive impact and improve the lives of the country and the health of the country, which is our ultimate goal.